So yeah, we're about to start. Val.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to you all. Thabo, thank you so much for that introduction and for welcoming everybody to today's Wisdom webinar. And today we're talking about the subject of appreciation. And what does it mean to appreciate those around us? And as Thabo mentioned, we are recording today's session and we're going to ask you all to please turn off your cameras so to allow for great quality. If you want to engage with us, we're going to be using Menti polling to engage, and we will also be asking you to send us your comments in the chat function. If you want to engage on Menti polling, it is completely anonymous, and the link has been provided in the chat function. So a very warm welcome to you all today, and thank you for Thabo for introducing me to you all. As a teacher by profession, I really feel passionate about the importance of sharing knowledge. And I know that when we're doing webinars, it's different to being in person. So I really encourage you for the next hour, just to put aside what you're doing, stop multitasking, try and just invest in you and in the session and hopefully sharing knowledge around the subject of appreciation. And what we're going to be talking about is really the secrets of successful people. If you were logged in early, you will have heard Mary talking about the subject of appreciation. And this is really just gives us an opportunity to do a little bit more of a deep dive into the subject. What is appreciation? Why is it so important? Why is it a quality of successful people? And then looking at who and what do you appreciate in your life? And what is the practice of appreciation? We're going to touch on the science behind appreciation. And we're even going to look at words of appreciation and affirmation and how they tap into what is known as your love language. So sit back and relax and enjoy today's session. So first and foremost, this year we started out on a project where every month we sort of would unpack some of the key qualities of successful people. And in January, we didn't do a webinar, but January's theme was all around being courageous and tapping into inner courage. And certainly after the year we had last year, we needed to attack 2021 with courage. And all successful people do, have a sense of courage. There's a lion within them as opposed to sort of a little pussycat. So we looked at what were some of the things our successful graduates have in common and successful people have in common. And Academy of York is very proud of our heritage, that we have over 16,000 graduates. And these are people who work and study at the same time. They have a desire to improve themselves, to improve their skills and ability. And so every single month, it's free. So tell your friends and family, you don't have to be a student at the college to join us. Every month we have different topics around our Wisdom Wednesday. And we started off in the month of February, the month of love, and we spoke about the importance of self-love and self-care. And then in March, we spoke about accountability, the importance of really being able to be accountable for ourselves and our own sort of driving our own lives forward in the way we want to. And then in April, Tim took us through how to network and why it is important to network with others. And this month's theme is all around appreciation. Next month, we'll be talking about curiosity. So really, let's take a look at this whole concept of appreciation. So let's define first and foremost, what is appreciation? And so it is defined as the enjoyment of good qualities of an individual. It also has similar words like respect or cherishing, valuing something. We admire it, we hold it in high regard. It It also is to be able to acknowledge and recognize or to show awareness for something. So that word appreciation, the synonyms are sort of being grateful for something in our life, or really recognizing what is important in our life. So in terms of this, I really would love you to consider who and what do you personally appreciate in your life. So we can appreciate things, we can appreciate people, we can appreciate institutions, but I would love for you to engage with me on this mentee polling and to really give some thought to who and what do you appreciate in life. We'd like to just remind you, please, to please turn off your cameras. It is quite distracting, and to make sure you're on mute. So please turn off your cameras so that we can really focus on this question. Who and what do you appreciate in life? Who and what do you appreciate in life? So in this mentee polling, you can either write it in the chat function, or you can write the words on this on mentee polling. If you haven't engaged in mentee polling, Thabo has just very kindly sent us those things. So do you appreciate your friends? Do you appreciate your family? Do you appreciate your job, your ability to earn an income? What is it that you appreciate in your life? Do you ever think about what it is that you appreciate? So give that some thought, and we would love for you to please answer that question. So is it the people that you surround yourself with? Is it your work, the things that you do in order to earn an income? Do you ever think about appreciating your own personal talents, your own personal skills and ability? So perhaps you're a wonderful listener. Do you ever appreciate that quality? Do people tell you how they appreciate that quality in you? Or maybe you're really good at helping others, and that's a wonderful quality. Do you get to use that quality? Do you appreciate that quality in yourself? And do the people that you surround yourself with appreciate the fact that you are a natural born helper? Or maybe you're great at problem solving. Would love you to think about that. Are you a good problem solver? Do people come to you with their problems, and are you able to unpack that? Maybe you're a great communicator, and people admire the fact that you're good at communicating. Or maybe you're a very organized person, so people would ask you to help in things. And Cecilia writes the comment, she appreciates family. Certainly, that's one of the key things that I appreciate in my life. What about things? Do you appreciate your home? If you have a home, do you appreciate maybe a nice cup of coffee? Is that something that you appreciate in your life? What are the things that you appreciate? Is it things? Is it people? Or is it actually the ability to work? Now, Oprah Winfrey obviously is one of the great communicators and motivators of our time. She puts it beautifully. She says, be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And so it's a little bit about, like, if I was to give you a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, there was a dot, a black dot. I want you to imagine a piece of paper with a black dot, right? What do you see? Now, many of you would most probably say you see the black dot, right? But what about the fact that there's all this white space? And when it is in our lives, it's quite similar. It's like if we're eating a millie or corn on the cob, and you're eating that millie and you get a piece of the millie stuck in your tooth. Chances are your tongue is going to immediately go to that piece of corn or that, that herb or whatever it is that you have stuck in your tooth. You don't necessarily focus on the other teeth that have nothing stuck in it. And so very often in our lives, we do tend to focus on our problems, on what we don't have versus what we do have. And today's session is all around really appreciating what we have. So I'd like you to ask yourself, sit down, breathe deep, and ask yourself the question, what do you really want? What do you really want in your life? Think about it. And if you're brave, I encourage you to write down what you want, either in the chat function or write down what you want in our Menti polling question. And once again, on Menti polling, it is completely anonymous. So when you write a chat on a webinar chat function, we can see your answers. We can see that you've said that, but in terms of Menti, it's completely anonymous. So I'd like you to take a moment and to think about what is it that you really, really want in your life? What's important to you? What do you really want? And give that some thought. Really think about it. What is it that you want? And here we have somebody saying they want a job.
Hi, Koketso.
They want health, or they want happiness. What is
Hello.
it that you really, really want? And if you're comfortable popping that up on the Menti chat group or simply sending us a message, really think about what it is that you want. Now, this question is also known as the every person test. And what it tells us is that even though we all look kind of different, and maybe some of you are saying, I really want to win the lottery, or I really want to find a boyfriend. We might not all have that in common, but at the end of the day, we all simply want three important things. And those things are, we want to feel secure, we want to be happy, and we want to be healthy. Now, health is something that we don't always appreciate when we've got it. You'll never see somebody saying, oh, I'm so happy, I'm healthy. Normally, they only focus on that when they lose their health. So all of a sudden, they lose their health, and then they say, oh, this is really frustrating. I'm so sad that I'm not healthy. I'm so frustrated that I'm sick, that I've got flu, or that I'm not well. So at the end of the day, what is it that we want? We want to be happy, healthy, and secure at the end of the day. But if we tap into that word happy, the difference between happy people and unhappy people, for the most part, is their level of gratitude and appreciation. So happy people, no matter what they have or don't have, they focus on what they have. Unhappy people focus on the things that they don't have in their lives. And I guess a wonderful guru who can talk to us about this is this gentleman who I absolutely love and follow with passion and enthusiasm. Let's take a listen to what he has to say. If you wouldn't mind, if you can hear, just raise your hand virtually so I can see it like I'm doing right now. Once I push play, just raise your hand so that I can know you can hear clearly. Let's take a listen.
A lady who was over 90 years old but had a great flair towards dressing up well, applying makeup and arranging her hair in beautiful patterns. She and her husband had been married to each other for 70 years. After the departure of her beloved partner, having no children and no one in the family to care for her, she decided to move to a nursing home. Even on the day
Apologies, I just want to increase the sound.
when she vacated her home for good, she dressed up elegantly and looked gorgeous. After arriving at the nursing home, she had to wait patiently in the lobby for hours before her room was ready. When an attendant helped her make her way to the room, she gave the lady a visual description of the tiny space that she was meant to occupy. I love it, the lady expressed with the enthusiasm of an 8-year-old who had just been presented with a new puppy. Mrs. Jones, you haven't even seen the room yet. Just wait, the attendant remarked. Well, my joy has nothing to do with the room, the lady replied. Whether I like my room or not doesn't depend on how the furniture is arranged. It depends on how I arrange my mind. Happiness is something you can decide ahead of time. And I've already decided to love my room, to love the people around me, to love my life. It is a decision that I make every morning when I wake up. You know what? The greatest asset we all have is the power to choose how we feel. The lady continued speaking as the attendant listened attentively with her mouth wide open. I can spend my entire day in bed thinking of the pain I am in, focusing on those parts of my body that no longer work. Or I can get out of bed and be thankful for those parts that do work. Each day is a gift, and as long as my eyes can still open, I will continue to focus on today and all the happy memories I have stored in my mind just for this time in my life. The attendant was astounded by the positive attitude of the elderly lady, whose life, from an external point of view, was only full of problems and hopelessness. Ladies and gentlemen, only problems happen automatically. Happiness is a choice we all have to make. Only anger happens automatically. Peace is a choice we all have to make. Only hatred happens automatically. Love is a choice we all have to make. Being negative happens automatically. A positive attitude is a choice we all have to make. Complaining is automatic. Gratitude is a choice we all have to make. Choose right and live well.
So I just love that message, and I
The
hope you
lady,
did too. So gratitude and attitude are not challenges, they are choices, and appreciation is a choice. Learning to appreciate the things we do have is a choice, and it is also a skill. So it's very often people, when they set goals in their life, they don't necessarily set goals related to, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, I want to be secure. They set goals that are related to either their business, career, and their financial goals. We define those as the what goals. Or they create personal goals related to their family and their health. So I want to get married, I want to have a family, I want to be healthy, I want to be fit, I want to lose weight. These are often what we define as the why goals. And then there are growth and development goals. And I want to be able to improve my skills and knowledge. Or I want to be able to lecture more confidently, or I want to be able to understand a balance sheet, or I want to learn leadership skills, or I want to learn how to be an HR manager. And these are defined as our how goals. Now, at the end of the day, when we are defining our goals, we still need to think about what we do have versus what we don't have. So very importantly, and in July, we're going to be talking about reflecting on what you've achieved. I want you to right now take a moment for appreciating what you do have in those three key areas of your life: your business and career and financial goals. What do you have? So if you are working, that's phenomenal. You've got a job that's earning you income. Appreciate that. I know it might not be the income you want to earn, no problem, but at least it's an income. You are wealthier than a person who is still looking for a job. Or with regards to your family, we might not always love our family members, but be thankful you have a family. That is more than the person who is an orphan and who may have lost both parents as well as siblings. And in terms of your growth and development, you might not have all the skills that you want, but perhaps you've completed your grade 9, or maybe you have completed your matric. That's awesome. Appreciate the skills that you do have rather than focusing on the skills that you don't have. So you are really in charge of your life. I love this quote from William Ernest Henley. He talks about, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And if you don't appreciate things in your life, then who will? If you don't start appreciating things now in your life, when is that going to change? Are you going to wake up one morning and only then appreciate what you do have? Because by then it might be too late. Sometimes we lose the things that are most valued in our lives simply because we don't appreciate them. So let's take a look at why an attitude of gratitude is so vitally, vitally important in our lives. And I would just like to once again remind you to please switch off your cameras and to please put yourselves onto mute if you've just joined us. If you wouldn't mind, please doing that. So let's take a look at why it's important. And in order to share with us, I have chosen this short video. Let's take a listen once again. If you can hear, lift your hand so that I know the sound is good. Thanks so very much.
Hi, Kate here. Welcome to Wellcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, check out our introductory video. Long story short, it's 100 wellness exercises in 100 days. You in? Let's talk about 2 little words that will make you happier. Happy birthday? I do? Nope. Today, we're going to talk about saying thank you. Did you know expressing gratitude is scientifically proven to make you happier? Here's the deal. Humans operate on what's called a hedonic treadmill. It means we generally stabilize at one level of happiness. Going to a party or going to the beach might perk you up for a minute, but generally your level of happiness stays constant, whether you spend a day at the park or at the doctor. Basically, we take the things that make us happy for granted, so they stop psyching us up. By practicing gratitude and constantly examining what you're thankful for and why, you stop ignoring what makes you happy. Essentially, being actively grateful will make you a happier person. But don't take my word for it. Dr. Robert Emmons, a psych professor at UC Davis and author of Thanks, The New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier, has been doing experiments on gratitude for more than a decade. For example, Dr. Emmons gave 300 people journals and divided these people into 3 groups. One group had to write daily lists of things that they were grateful for. Another group had to write daily lists of things that annoyed them. And the last group, well, they could write about whatever popped in and out of their minds. Batman, strawberries, whatever. Emmons found that people who wrote about things that they were grateful for had a much higher level of well-being than the other 2 groups. Not only that, they slept better and exercised more. Group A's simple act of writing down what they were thankful for seemed to kickstart their brains. So, it's time to kickstart your brain with today's wellness exercise. Take out your Wellcast journal, crack it open to a clean page and write things I am grateful for at the top. If you're the kind of person that likes to be micromanaged, draw 3 columns and label people, places, and things. Take 5 minutes each night this week and add things to those columns. At the end of the week, take a look at the list. It's pretty long, huh? It's time for phase 2. Time to express a little gratitude out loud to others. Look, we're not saying you have to be one of those people who thanks trees for oxygen. I mean, you can, but just go down your list. Pick one of the things you wrote down and think about who gave it to you. Actually expressing gratitude will help you get off that hedonic treadmill and make you feel better about all the little things. Draft a letter to this person. It's okay. You can explain to them that a YouTube video is telling you to do this, but then get serious. Tell the person what you're so grateful for and why, and then thank them sincerely for it. If you're feeling adventurous, ask them out to dinner, and then you can thank them in person. After you send the letter or return from dinner, take out that well-cast journal one last time. Open it up to a clean page and write down how you feel now in detail. Are you like one of the folks in Dr. Emmons' study and feeling pretty awesome? Let us know how your gratitude experiment went. Now that we're all in a good mood, let's do a recap.
Okay, I don't think we need to do the recap part because I'm going to recap it for you. What I'm encouraging you to do is every single day for the next 30 days is write down something you are grateful for or someone you appreciate. Every single day. Make it a habit. Either do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night. And you want to think about things like, am I grateful for a person in my life? Am I grateful for so the people element, or is it a place that I'm grateful for, my place of work, or is it something else that you're grateful for, maybe an experience? And then you really want to write down what it is that you're grateful for. If it is a person, tell that person that you appreciate who they are and the fact that they're in your life. I really think that this exercise is incredibly empowering. My daughter is 20 years old. Let me not add any more years. 20 years old. She is studying at the moment. And for the last few months, she's really been feeling down and overwhelmed by how much she has to get through each and every day. And by simply doing this gratitude journal, an appreciation journal, she has changed her mindset. And by changing her mindset, she is feeling happier. Her health is better, and she's starting to, guess what, do better in her studies. It all starts with thinking about the things you do have versus thinking about the things you don't have. So really, if we are grateful for our past, we're able to then be peaceful in what we do have and start to plan for tomorrow. And so there's actually something called the science of appreciation. The science of appreciation shows you that clinically, when we appreciate things in our lives, it actually improves the quality of our life. So this video will simply demonstrate with them what is in it for you. If you start to be more appreciative, what is the benefit for you in your own life? Let's take a listen.
Research shows that adopting an attitude of gratitude, simply expressing appreciation and being more thankful, can measurably improve your overall well-being. For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others, a pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones. Here are a few simple ways to deliberately cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Celebrate minor accomplishments. Think about what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't. Tell the people in your life something you appreciate about them. Tell yourself too. Volunteer, hold a door for a stranger, or simply smile more, and you'll probably feel better, as kindness and giving are connected to gratitude. Similar positive brain changes can occur from regular meditation and mindfulness. Keep a daily gratitude journal using an old-fashioned notebook or a high-tech app. The science is clear. Give gratitude a go. You'll be thankful you did.
So there's actually a science behind this. It doesn't matter what research you look into. When we appreciate the things in life, it actually mentally improves our brain function, releasing more dopamine, which is a feel-good hormone. So physically, mentally, we're healthier. And then guess what? We're able to be healthier and achieve more. It increases our level of self-esteem. It increases our level of self-confidence. Now, let me not paint a picture for you that, well, if you write in your gratitude journal and you focus on what you do have, that life is going to be hunky-dory and everything is going to be perfect. Sadly, that's not the case. Life is hard. Life is challenging. And we, every single day, every single week, every single month, we are focused on challenges. Once again, my young daughter, who's 20, was doing all of this. She was feeling good. She was writing in her gratitude journal. And the next minute, her laptop was stolen. So life has now become really hard. How can she complete her studies? How can she do her assignments if she doesn't have that computer or that laptop that she desperately needs? So the reality is, things don't always go the way we want it to go. Success is not linear. Success is not upward line. Success actually is all about these highs and lows that we experience in our lives. It's almost like a bit of a roller coaster. You're writing in your gratitude or your appreciation journal, things are going well, and then life hits you. You get sick. Tragically, you lose a loved one. Financially, you might be retrenched. Life is certainly not perfect. So what do we do when things don't go our way? And certainly in my own life, there have been many, many times when things don't go as I expect them to go. Should I still show appreciation for those tough times? And I must tell you, and you might not always see it at the time or appreciate it at the time, but hard times teach us the most valuable life lessons. Hard times teach us the most valuable life lessons. So let's take an example. And somebody said to me, for every negative, there is a positive. And I argued the point. I said, no, that's not true. If you were to lose a loved one, which is a negative thing that it happens to you, how can that be positive? And they said to me, trust me, for every negative, there is a positive. In the hardest times of our lives, we sometimes learn the most valuable life lessons. And it was true. When I lost my father a number of years ago, one of the hardest, darkest times in my life, I remember feeling incredible gratitude and appreciation for the gift of friendship, people who supported me through that time of loss. Or when you lose a job and you are feeling absolutely terrible about yourself and you're feeling like, what are you going to do? It's during those tough times that maybe you revamp yourself and your skills and you learn something new. And when you look back on it, many people say it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I now am my own boss. I'm now an entrepreneur, or I went on to a better job that I was able to get in the long run. So tough times, hard times, sometimes we really need to appreciate. Also want to talk about how powerful appreciation is in relationships. Relationships with our friends, relationships with our loved ones, with family, and also relationships in the workplace. Being told that you are appreciated is one of the most powerful things that you can hear. So using words of affirmation or telling somebody that you're thankful for them or you're grateful for the things that they do in your life really is powerful. But the reality is sometimes if we don't show appreciation to those that deserve it, all of a sudden they might stop doing the things that you most appreciate. So for example, my husband used to bring me coffee every single day when I woke up in the morning. And because it became a habit, what did I do? I forgot to say thank you. And what happened was he stopped to make the coffee because he didn't feel appreciated. Or my mom used to make an effort to give me a call every day to check in and see how I was feeling. And once again, it became a habit, and I never told her how much I valued and appreciated the calls. So what happened? She stopped making those calls to me. And only when she stopped did I realize the value of those conversations. So I wanted to bring in what is called the 5 love languages. Now, Gary Chapman, in his book, The 5 Love Languages, unpacks that people feel and experience love in different ways. And there are 5 main ways in which humans feel love. Okay, and those are things like acts of service. So when people do something for you, gift giving, when somebody might buy you something to show their love and appreciation. The third one is something that we're talking about today, words of appreciation or words of affirmation. The fourth one is quality time. And the fifth one is physical touch. So I encourage you to think about, what do you think is your primary love language? What is your primary love language? Now, you can't say I want all of them. I know that sometimes we can be greedy. I want people to do things for me, buy me things, give me time, tell me how wonderful I am, and give me a big hug. It's got to be a primary love language. So while you're engaging on Menti with this question, what is your love language? I'm going to share a little story with you. So as you know, and I've mentioned it in the session, I am married. So when I first started dating my now husband, he used to use words of affirmation often. So he would tell me, oh, you look great, or he would say, you're wonderful and you're pretty and, you know, you're so clever or smart. And those words of affirmation was definitely my key love language. And when he told me those things, I felt loved. I felt appreciated. When my parents and my siblings told me positive things, words of affirmation, it made me feel good about myself. I felt love. Okay, then we got married and we went through the stage of having children. And my husband would tell me what a great mother I was, but I started to feel unhappy in our relationship. Why? Well, he hadn't changed, but my love language had changed. All of a sudden, my love language, I was like, stop telling me how great I am, do something to help me. My love language had then changed to acts of service. I appreciated it when he woke up in the morning and he gave the children a bottle, or he did the dishes and he started to help me around the house. So my love language had changed. And then later on in our marriage, my love language changed once again. I didn't maybe need him to do as much acts of service, but I wanted to spend quality time with him. Going on a walk, having a conversation, sharing a glass of wine, spending quality time was important. So a big thank you to those of you who are brave enough to share your love language, either on the chat or on the screen. At the moment, we see some of you saying words of affirmation, quality time, and acts of service. And it's very important that you identify what's important to you. But if you really want to have a great relationship with those around you, you want to ask yourself, what is the love language of your loved ones? So what is the love language of your spouse? What is the love language of your boss? What is your love language of your best friend? Think about that, and I encourage you to start to talk in that love language to them. So my son's big love language is definitely words of affirmation. It doesn't matter how much I do for him. If I don't affirm him, he doesn't feel love. It's like I'm talking English and he's understanding Chinese. So you need to talk one another's love language. And if their love language is words of affirmation and appreciation, then this month, tell them how much you appreciate it. Which brings me to our 30-day appreciation and gratitude challenge. In the next 30 days, think about what it is that you truly appreciate. And Thabo is going to send you the slide and we're going to post it on Facebook. We encourage you to join us on this journey. You're going to start off with physically. What do you appreciate about your body? Secondly, you're going to move on to what do you find beautiful? That could be something you find beautiful in the world. What is something, a song you maybe love on day 3? Then you're going to think about an accomplishment. And then you're going to think about a person, maybe a friend. Then you're going to look at things that you love to smell. For me, there is nothing better than the smell of vanilla or the smell of a baking cake. What smell do you love? What about something that makes you smile? And over the next 30 days, you're going to really tap into these things that you truly are grateful for and appreciate. And hopefully that exercise will teach you that the more you thank life, the more life gives you things to be thankful for. And so with that, I would love to end the formal part of today's session, which is the 40-minute presentation, and open the floor to any questions that we may have. So Thabo, over to you. I would love for you to see what questions we have and how we can handle those questions.
Oh yes, Val. Thank you. What a powerful session. Appreciation is such a powerful quality. Being told that you are appreciated is one of the most powerful things one can hear in their life. Yes, guys, can you please post your questions? We don't have any questions for now, but just to break the ice, Val. I see appreciation is very powerful, but why should one be appreciative?
Okay, so why should you be appreciative? That's a great question. And sometimes unpacking the why then makes the how and what a bit easier. Well, I guess if you don't appreciate the things that you do have, then chances are you might no longer have them. So as I mentioned with my husband making me that cup of coffee, when I stopped appreciating it, he stopped doing it. And so we can go through life just sort of expecting things. And then, when they don't happen, we only realize how much we value them in the first place. So if you don't appreciate a friend and give energy to a friend, or appreciate your work and appreciate the ability to earn an income, then chances are we're either not going to climb the corporate ladder, or if we don't appreciate it, we start to devalue or undervalue it. And that's where the risk happens. That's where we stand a chance to risk what it is we have. So many people say that, oh, I hate my job, or I hate working, I hate having to go to work, I'd much prefer to be on holiday all the time. And so they bring that negative energy into the workplace. And the next thing they know, their company is not doing well, and the boss sort of looks around and starts to take a look at who might be retrenched, and sort of thinks about the fact that this person doesn't look like they value their job or value their work. They haven't shone at work. They haven't done well at work. And so they end up getting retrenched or losing their job. It's not always because of you, obviously. Sometimes it's just an economic situation. The next thing you know, you don't have a job. And only when you don't have that job do you then, it's like a light bulb moment, do you then say, oh my goodness, I really appreciated it in the first place. So that is the reason why appreciative is so, so, so important.
Oh, yes.
I hope that answers your question, Thabo.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I hope that also helped our participants today. So yeah, we've got a question from Tabi Singh. She says, how do you deal with a person or a client who doesn't feel appreciated no matter what the efforts you make?
Okay, that's a great question in Tabasing. How do you deal with a person who doesn't feel appreciated? So for me, it comes down to maybe what is that person's love language. So you might need to really think about that and sort of ask yourself, well, how can you get a positive response from that person? So you might, for example, have tried to say thank you to them and how much you appreciate their business and started to use sort of words of affirmation and you get no response. Well, maybe then that's not going to work. Words of affirmation is not going to be the thing that works in that relationship. Then you might need to think about it. Maybe you need to show them how much you appreciate them. So it's little things. I'm not saying you buy big gifts or anything like that, but maybe you might want to, for example, buy them a packet of Super Cs and wrap it up with a little note saying, I really want you to know how super you are, or I really see great value in this relationship. Or you might want to buy them a bar one chocolate. So anything less than $10, something little, and see whether maybe gift giving is their love language. And all of a sudden, if you get a response and they say, oh, I so appreciated that, I loved it, you were so thoughtful and kind, that then you know that that is their love language. Or maybe you need to make time for that person. So you need to ask them, would you like to meet for a cup of coffee? Would you like some time together to discuss our relationship? Would you want time to discuss it? And then all of a sudden, you know that quality time. Or if you offer to do something for them, can I make you a cup of coffee? So you tap into what their love language is. And by doing that, see whether you get a response. See whether you get something from it. And if they do respond positively, you then know what their love language is, and you're able to use that love language to work on that relationship. And Tabasing, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's the small things that count. Yeah.
I think so.
We've got a question from Charity, right? She says, does my love language change depending on who I'm dealing with?
That's a great question, Charity. Your love language is your love language, no matter who you're dealing with. It's your love language. So for example, if your love language is words of affirmation, that would be your love language if you're dealing with your husband, if you're dealing with your family members, if you're dealing with your boss, if you're dealing with colleagues, that is your love language. Your love language is people telling you and affirming the person you are. That stays constant. But your love language can change through the years, as I explained in my story. So your predominant love language might be gift giving. So you really feel love when people give you thoughtful gifts or write you a thoughtful note. That's your predominant love language, but it could change to quality time. So your love language doesn't necessarily change depending on the people around you. It changes depending on how you are feeling love at that given time in your life. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Guys, keep your questions coming, right? I've got a question, Bar. How do you show appreciation for life?
Sure. How do you show appreciation for life? So for me, Thabo, it really comes down to being mindful of the gift of life. So for me, it is mindfulness, and it was mentioned in one of those sort of videos in terms of the science of gratitude. I don't think we can appreciate life in all of its wonderful abundance until we take time to be quiet within ourselves. So mindfulness, meditation, just simply being quiet and tapping into what it is you really appreciate. So I can say I value life, but unless I experience the joy of a sunrise and actually taking time to look at that sunrise and saying, sure, that's so beautiful, or the gift of if it's raining and realize the gift of rain, or when we take time to realize how unique we are within ourselves, we take time to acknowledge our feelings. So for me, you can appreciate life if you become mindful of life. And that mindfulness practice really is a growing trend. And it is a trend that really creates abundance in our lives. We can't say we love life and we appreciate life until we actually open our eyes to the little things in life, to the small things. And that is a process. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh yes, definitely does. Hey, it definitely does, especially after the lockdown. So yeah, I think this is a great time to actually appreciate life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've got another question here. Let me see. Nomzamo. She says, "How do I improve my love language?"
Okay. So Nomzano, the first thing is you're not going to improve your love language. You've got to ask yourself what your love language is. So that just is. So if you have it's not like the one love language is better than the other. It just is your love language. And once again, just to recap, what are the options on those love languages? It could be you feel love when people do things for you, acts of service. You feel love when you receive something, a gift of any sort. You feel love when people give you positive words of affirmation. You feel love when somebody spends time with you, or you feel love when somebody physically hugs you or is physical with you, right? So those are the 5 love languages. So it's not like you improve it in any way. You just have to acknowledge that that is the way in which you predominantly experience love. What you might want to improve, however, is understanding what the people in your lives, what their love language is, and starting to talk their love language. So I want you to think about somebody really important in your life, the most important person in your life. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be a brother, it could be a partner, a child. You want to try and understand what their love language is. And then you want to try and talk to them in their love language. And that's how you improve relationships, by talking their love language. So that's the way you improve relationships, by talking that person's love language. I hope that answers and clarifies your question.
I think it definitely does. Yeah, very clear. Yeah, I see we no longer have more questions coming through, but we've got comments. After answering Tabiseng's questions, she says, "I think I really understand today's lesson. It starts with you by loving yourself so that you can be appreciated." I love that comment. And we've got Charity saying, "Thank you so much."
Awesome.
Yeah. Just
Great.
a reminder, guys, once again, just engage with us on menti.com. Use the code 47574508. So yeah, Val, we no longer have any questions coming through. I think the people were really impressed. You gave all the information away. You answered their questions before they are even asked.
Thanks so much, Thabo. And I just want to say I appreciate you. Thanks for being an awesome host in today's session. For all of the attendees, I appreciate your time that you've given to attend. I hope you found some wisdom in today's wisdom webinar, and we look forward to seeing you again next month with our theme of curiosity. Very dynamic theme. And I also want to say thank you to all of you who are attending, who are Academy of York students. We appreciate you studying with us. Thank you and have an awesome day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Val. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Hope the session was very helpful, was very informative, was very educational. We're looking forward to seeing you again next month. You know, in the meantime, if you've attended the session before and you've never received the notes or the video being sent to you, please drop your email address on the chat function. And then, yeah, you can also just tell us how was the session. You can tell us what you think of our guest speaker. You can post it on Facebook. You can post it on our Facebook page. You can tell your friends. You can invite everybody. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. We really appreciate you.